The farmer stood quietly at the edge of the market, his calloused hands holding a basket of freshly picked apples. His overalls were worn, his belly protruded slightly over his belt, and his wide straw hat shaded his face. To anyone passing by, he looked like an ordinary man, slow-moving, overweight, and just another small-town farmer trying to sell his produce. But beneath that humble exterior was a past few could imagine. He was Samuel Briggs, a retired Delta Force commander, a man who had seen the harshest corners of the world, fought battles in the shadows, and survived situations where most men would have perished. Now he just wanted peace. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. The Saturday farmers' market was alive with color and chatter. Families browsed stalls, children tugged at their mothers' hands for candy, and elderly couples admired homemade crafts. Samuel didn't mind the background noise, it reminded him of the life he had fought so hard to protect. He rarely spoke of his past, preferring instead to live simply, to sell what his land produced, and to fade into the rhythm of country living. But that morning, the tranquility of the market shattered when the bikers arrived. Their engines roared like thunder, drowning out laughter and music. A gang of 6 men, clad in black leather vests with patches of skulls and flames, pulled up at the market entrance. People turned their heads, unease spreading like wildfire. Mothers ushered children closer, vendors stiffened, and the sheriff's deputy, who usually patrolled the area, happened to be away on another call. The bikers were known troublemakers from the next county over, loud, drunk, and often cruel. Samuel watched them dismount, their boots thudding against the gravel as they swaggered between stalls, intimidating vendors and mocking anyone who dared to look at them the wrong way. When they reached Samuel's stand, their smirks widened. "Well, look at this," one of them sneered, picking up an apple and tossing it into the air. "The fat farmer's selling rabbit food. You eat enough of these, old man?" "Doesn't look like it." His friends laughed, the sound sharp and cruel. Another biker stepped forward, jabbing a finger into Samuel's chest. "Bet you can't even bend down without losing your breath. How much for this junk? Or better yet, maybe we'll just take what we want." The people nearby froze. No one dared interfere. Everyone had seen how quickly a confrontation with bikers could turn violent. The crowd's eyes shifted between Samuel and the men, silently pleading for the farmer not to provoke them. But Samuel remained calm. He looked at the biker's hand pressing against him, then lifted his gaze slowly to meet the man's eyes. His voice, when he finally spoke, was steady. "Son, I'd ask you to put that apple back and step away from my stand." The biker chuckled. "Or what? You gonna call the sheriff? He's not here. And you," he pushed harder against Samuel's chest, "you ain't gonna do a damn thing." Samuel sighed, the kind of sigh that held decades of patience. In his mind, he wasn't in the market anymore. He was back overseas, in the dust and heat of foreign soil, facing men who underestimated him. His instincts, honed from years in Delta Force, awoke like a sleeping lion. He hadn't wanted this, but he wouldn't stand by and let bullies run free. The biker smirked again, raising the apple as if to smash it against Samuel's face. But in a blur too fast for anyone to track, Samuel's hand shot up, gripping the man's wrist with steel-like precision. The biker gasped, eyes wide, as Samuel twisted gently but firmly, forcing him to his knees. The apple dropped to the ground. The market went silent. "You don't want to do this," Samuel said softly, his voice carrying the weight of command. "I'm giving you one chance. Walk away." The other bikers stepped forward, anger flashing in their eyes. One of them pulled a chain from his belt, another tightened his fists. But Samuel moved with a calmness that belied his size. His years of discipline and training took over. What happened next stunned the crowd. In under a minute, Samuel disarmed the man with the chain, sidestepped a punch from another, and sent 2 of them sprawling into the dirt with controlled precision. He didn't fight with rage, he fought with skill, every movement economical, deliberate, and devastating. The bikers were on the ground, groaning, clutching their arms and ribs. The leader, still kneeling from Samuel's grip, stared up in disbelief. "Who the hell are you?" he spat. Samuel released his wrist and stepped back. For a moment, his gaze drifted across the crowd, the shocked townsfolk, the children who stared with wide eyes, the vendors who whispered among themselves. Then he turned back to the biker. "I'm just a farmer," he said quietly. "But once upon a time, I was dealt a force. And I don't take kindly to bullies." Gasps rippled through the crowd. People who had known Samuel for years suddenly saw him in a new light. He wasn't just the fat farmer who sold apples, he was a man who had fought for his country, who had risked everything to protect strangers, and who still carried that strength within him. The bikers scrambled to their feet, beaten not just physically but in spirit. They staggered back toward their motorcycles, their bravado shattered. One of them muttered, "We'll be back," but even his voice lacked conviction. They roared away, engines fading into the distance, leaving behind silence and awe. The crowd erupted in cheers. Children ran forward, tugging at Samuel's sleeves, calling him a hero. Vendors shook his hand, thanking him for standing up when no one else could. But Samuel only smiled humbly and began picking up the apples that had fallen during the scuffle. "Heroes," he said softly, more to himself than anyone else, "are just ordinary people who do what needs to be done." That night, word of the incident spread across the town. Some called Samuel a legend, others a guardian. But to him, it wasn't about fame or recognition. It was about sending a message that strength isn't measured by appearance, and that no bully, no matter how loud, could crush the quiet dignity of a good man. The true challenge Samuel faced wasn't defeating bikers. It was choosing every day to live peacefully when he knew he could destroy anyone who crossed him. It was enduring whispers about his size, about being just a farmer, without ever feeling the need to prove himself. But when the moment came, when others needed him, he rose not for glory, but because it was right. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson. The people in that market learned that day not to judge a man by how he looked, but by the strength of his character. Samuel taught them that kindness can be powerful, but when pushed, courage is what keeps kindness alive. So, the next time you see someone who seems ordinary, someone you might underestimate, remember this story. You never know the battles they've fought, the scars they carry, or the strength they hold within. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe true strength lies in what we look like or in the choices we make when it matters most? I'd love to hear your perspective. And if stories like this inspire you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Be kind always. Together, we can spread messages of courage, compassion, and resilience to the world.